Please welcome to the stage our third pitch, and that is REZ. All right. You guys coming out? It's time. All right. Good luck, guys.
Good evening, everyone. We are extremely excited to be up here and talking to you guys about a little something we call REZ parking. Now, we love our company, and we hope you will too. Just last weekend, I tried to take my sweet mother to South Congress for some Mother's Day fun. We drove up and down the strip for 30 minutes and couldn't find a parking spot. Ultimately, we were forced to go home. Sadly, this is not an isolated event. People are bogged down by the idea of finding parking, and they're second-guessing themselves when going out. When people don't go out, they miss out on making memories. In today's world, people are more mobile than ever, but parking is still a major issue. There simply isn't enough parking spots. The parking spots are located in crowded parking lots. It's time-consuming to find a spot and expensive to park in one. And altogether, these factors create stress. And here at REZ Parking, we believe the stress of parking shouldn't ruin the fun. Let's meet the team.
I'm Laura LaBoon.
I'm Owen Robertson.
I'm Bruno Literio.
I'm Alex Fry.
And I'm Michael Dodgin.
So how are people currently combating this issue? Well, there are apps such as ParkX and ParkMobile, but these only allow you to find spaces in parking garages and parking lots. Others use rideshare apps such as Uber and Lyft. But these end up being more time-consuming and more expensive than just hopping in your own car. The true solution to the parking epidemic is to create more spaces, and we do just that. And here's how we do it. Our service allows homeowners to rent out their driveways to drivers looking for the perfect space. Homeowners are able to make some fast cash, and drivers are able to find a stress-free and convenient space. When you open our app, you can register as a driver or homeowner. If you register as a driver, you could type in your final destination, and a map of pinpoints will show you the available spaces nearby. You can click on these pinpoints to find out more information, such as how much it costs, where it is, and what it looks like. If you register as a homeowner, you can check up an existing space or set up a new one. Your space will show up as 3 different colors based on the status of whether it's rented or not.
Now, here is a picture of South Congress, and this pinpoint is the one parking spot that we could find in our competitor's app. Now, what's really special about REZ Parking is that we can provide this same spot. We can also provide all of these residential spaces. By simply providing more spots at a cheaper rate in more convenient places, people are going to choose REZ when they choose parking, and that is going to drive us to the top of the market.
Just to give an example of how big one small neighborhood could be, we found out that there are 174 houses within a 1.5-mile radius of South Congress. Now, if 20% of these houses will rent out their driveway for $15 a day, that's $525. If they rent out once a week for 1 year, that's $27,300 in one neighborhood in 1 year. Imagine the scalability of all the other places that we could reach out to in the United States.
Now, we absolutely love REZ Parking, but we wanted to make sure that everyone else did too. So we validated our idea in 4 ways. First, we pitched at South by Southwest. At South by Southwest, we were the only group from Westlake to be chosen, and we were pitching in front of really experienced entrepreneurs that really taught us how to most effectively pitch our idea, and not only that, but to run our company. Second, we created a website. By creating a website, we learned that we can have a cheap and effective alternative to our service before we actually code the app. Third, we sold parking spots at the World Golf Championship. So what we did is we went to the homeowners right next to ACC, where the World Golf Championship is held, and we asked them if they'd be willing to sell their spot, or their driveway. Now, we had about a 20% conversion rate, but we do believe this will be higher in areas that are less affluent. Once we got these driveways, we sold them to people going to the World Golf Championship. And afterwards, we interviewed all of them, and we had very positive feedback, and they simply loved REZ Parking. Then, we did a stress test at our very own Westlake High School. So what we did here is we allowed students that have bought their parking spot at the beginning of the year to rent their unused parking space to other students. Not only did this validate that there's a huge need for our product, but it actually validated that we could maintain and operate selling a lot of spots on a daily basis.
So our early adopters are young people from ages 16 to 35 who usually go to a big number of events or concerts. Now, on the homeowner side, it's really based on proximity to areas of interest.
Now, each year we plan on expanding to a new city. But of course, what would qualify as an appropriate city to expand to? Well, when expanding, we'll be going to a city that is either new and fast-growing that simply does not have the infrastructure to support the growing population, or an older and dense city that has had a parking epidemic for years that we could really capitalize on. And the similarity between these two cities would be the population, that they're both hip, tech-savvy, and open to new technology. And examples of these cities would be Dallas, Charleston, and Chicago.
So how big can this really get? We found out there are 263,600,000 cars in the United States. Out of these 263 million, we found out that 55,661,000 of them are in urban areas, and they all need parking. But before we reach out to all 263 million, we have to start somewhere, and we believe that right here in Austin, Texas is the perfect place. It's a hip, tech-savvy, and fast-growing city that hosts 3 annual events each year that we feel we could take advantage of. First being South by Southwest. This event alone attracts 350,000 people. Tour of Lights attracts 400,000, and Austin City Limits Music Festival attracts 450,000 people. What's unique about all 3 of these events is they all occur near residential areas, which is why we believe REZ will really thrive. So how are people going to find out about us? At the start, we're going to use cheap and effective methods of marketing. This is going to be stickers, flyers, and taking advantage of free social media accounts. Currently, we have an active Instagram with over 100 followers, where we post regularly and receive hundreds of views per post. Later, we hope to set up kiosks at large events to attract people to park in the driveways, and we also hope to post on apps such as Nextdoor and contact HOAs to attract the homeowners to list their driveways.
So how do we make money? Well, for every dollar that goes to the homeowners from the renters, the homeowners keep 70% of the money, and REZ and Friends keep 30%. Now, we came up with this 70-30 split by looking at our competitors in the space, and we found that this 70-30 split is an industry standard. But what's special about REZ parking is since we don't charge a subscription fee, our homeowners can never go into the red zone, meaning our homeowners can only make money and they can never lose money. Now, this is what REZ parking looks like over the next 5 years. Nowadays, people are renting out their cars, they're renting out their homes, and next they're going to be renting out their driveways, but it is going to take us some time for us to get our message out there. And that's why you can see by year 3, we plan on having an exponential growth in our business. Now, today we are asking for $10,000, and here's how we plan to use it. First, we plan to spend $4,000 on marketing. The reason for this is because marketing is essential to the survival of our company. Next, we plan to spend $1,000 on an LLC and insurance. This is just for our liabilities. Next, we plan to spend $200 so that our website that is already up can accept transactions so we can run the business while we spend the other $4,800 on creating a Stage 1 app. Now, we haven't been doing this alone. We've had a lot of help. First is Mr. Curtis Rogers, who's been a parking expert for us. And he's had New York Times articles written about him, specifically in his work at the Lyft parking lot. Next is our mentor, Mr. Alan May, who is really more than a mentor to us. He's connected us to so many people and so many learning opportunities and has really been a great support tool for us. And lastly is Mr. Bobby John, CEO of Band of Coders in Atlanta, Georgia. And he has showed interest in helping us develop an app at a reduced cost. Now, we know you guys aren't just investing in a good idea, you're investing in a group. And we are the group that you should invest in with and trust us and put your money in us. For us, this isn't just a one-year project. This isn't just something we came up with in Business Incubator. This is a business, and we have a unique opportunity because for all of us, REZ parking is where our passion and work come together.
We are REZ Parking, and we believe
the stress of parking shouldn't ruin the fun.
Thank you.
So I love your passion, and I love how prepared you are, very, very professional. This is a very noisy market. a very noisy market. I know you've come across a lot of competitors and a lot of mixed messages. Tell us a little bit more about the team in terms of who's going to do what, the roles that you are performing and your own strengths. How do you see yourselves coming together?
Okay, so basically all of us really just based on what we're interested in have really taken over the parts of the company that interest us the most. So Alex likes to work with money. So Alex has worked a lot on the money side and how much things cost. For me, I like the marketing side. I like talking to people. I like getting the idea out there. And me and Laura basically take care of that. And then we have Owen. Owen is really working on the tech side. That's our website, and that's our rough drafts for our Stage 1 app.
I have just one quick second question. As we build companies, we have to think about the long term. I'm curious what you guys think the impact and potential impact of autonomous vehicles will be on parking.
Yeah, so that's actually something we have talked about with our mentor. And what's really great about it is that if we do have those self-driving cars, then our app could really work with them, because if these cars could somehow integrate with our app and just drive to a neighborhood or drive to the home and right to the driveway, that'd be awesome for us. And we think that REZ parking really lends itself to the future.
So I like your idea. I think it is addressing a true problem that we all encounter. I'm curious about one of the things that just immediately came to mind, one of the challenges. You talked about the fact that the owners are never in the red. Right? Well, they are potentially inconvenienced in one way. What if someone leaves their car in a single width driveway? How do you deal with that? Is it on the company? Is it on the actual driveway owner? And how does that work?
Yeah, so basically we plan to implement a rating system, and with this rating system, both the homeowners and the drivers can rate each other. So if a driver does leave his car in the driveway for an extended period of time, way over the agreed limit, then he can give him a 1-star rating. And then other homeowners can look at that and say, hey, this guy only has 2 stars, maybe I don't want to sell to him, and it works both ways.
So that's good, but the practical reality is I can't get out of my driveway now, or I can't get things out of my garage or what have you. So who handles solving that? Because if I'm a homeowner, I can give you a negative rating all day, but I still can't get out.
Yeah, sure. And a lot of other companies, such as like Uber and HomeAway, like what if someone just stays in your house for a week and they won't leave? Or what if someone just sits in your car and doesn't pay you? And really, that's what we want to figure out. That's what we want to find out when running these MVPs and when we have our website up and running. These are some of the things that we'll learn how to deal with.
Super idea. So good job, guys. Couple quick questions. You guys are talking about working on both the supply side and the demand side and building a market between those two. The demand side of the market's getting pretty crowded out there. You have Sidewalk Labs and Google in the space. You have Spot Hero, etc. Are you guys thinking about those guys as the channel partners, or are you thinking about those guys as competitors?
So they kind of work as both, because as more people come into the space, we think that there's more market awareness created and that people are looking more deeply into how they park. But ultimately, we are looking at them as competitors. But in the future, we would, as a possible exit strategy, would love to maybe join up with one of these companies or just straight up sell the company to one of these companies.
So from a legal liability standpoint, have you thought about how to address if a car gets damaged while it's in a homeowner's driveway, or on the other side of the coin, if a driver commits a crime on a homeowner, and what that might mean from a liability standpoint to the company?
So we actually get this question a lot, so we made a slide about it. When people, like a lot of questions that we get is, what happens to the house? What happens if you run over the dog, right? Well, we feel that a general liability insurance will be able to cover us. So this covers us as with what's on the screen here. And in terms for the homeowner or for the driver's side, like damaging the property, that would all be in our terms and services, saying that we aren't liable for any damage done to the property by the renters.
And just one quick question. So what's the first neighborhood you're going to focus on?
So the first neighborhood is those neighborhoods right around Zilker Park, which is that kind of rolling wood area and kind of next to the Chewies. So that's where a lot of we think our business is going to be. And then, of course, South Congress.
And how fast do you expect you can sign up? Let's pick a number of houses and driveways. Let's call it 200. How fast can you sign 200 up?
So just in one day at that ACC validation that we had, we literally spent about, 2 hours asking people. We asked about like 30 people, and we ended up getting 2 driveways. So if we look at that, if we do that every day, we can get 200 people relatively quickly. And that's with no money put into marketing. And when we look at our Instagram account, we get hundreds and hundreds of views just from the post that we had about Dell Match Play. And we got hundreds of views from even out of the state. So we feel that we could get 200 spots, and with the funds, we could get that in about 3 weeks.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Wow. Of course you had a slide ready to go. REZ, great job.